Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Here are 5 must-know Algebra 1 topics. Here we go. Topic number 1, we have solving linear equations and inequalities. In part A, we want to solve for x, and the first thing I want to do here is get rid of these denominators. So the first thing I'll do is multiply both sides by a 4. Now another way to do this problem is to find common denominators on the left side, but I tend to want to not work with fractions. So this is the way that I do it. Let's get it. 4 and 4 cancel out in this first fraction, leaving just a 2x plus 3 minus 4 divided by this 2 will leave us with a 2, leaving the x minus 1 in the numerator as well. And 3 times 4 is 12. We want to distribute, and some of you may already notice what's going on here. We recognize that the 2x and 2x will eliminate, leaving us with 5 is equal to 12, which is a false statement. Therefore, there is no solution for x here. Starting off strong. Letter B, we have solved the inequality and expressed the solution in interval notation. So let's first solve this inequality. Let's try to isolate the x. Again, same idea as letter A. I'm going to try and get rid of these numerical denominators. So I'm going to multiply both sides by the common denominator, or some may even call it the least common multiple of the denominators. 20 and 5 cancel, leaving just a 4. 20 and 4 cancel, leaving a 5. Now, 4 times 3 is 12. So we have 12 times x minus 2 is going to be less than 5 times 2x plus 1. And now we distribute completely. We get 10x plus 5 on the right. And now we want to isolate the x's and combine like terms, essentially. So we have 12x minus 10x. Once we consolidate the constants on the right and the variables on the left, now we're left with 2x is less than 29, giving us x is less than 29 over 2. Another way to write 29 over 2 is 14.5. And in interval notation, we can write this as everything from negative infinity all the way to 14.5. And since we don't have an equal to sign in this inequality symbol, we also have parentheses. If we did have an equal sign under this inequality, I would have put brackets here. All right, that's topic number 1. Topic number 2, graphing linear equations and analyzing slopes. This is a topic that's going to show up again in geometry, algebra 2, all the way up to AP calculus, and even on your SATs. So let's take a look. Line M passes through the point 2, negative 1, and is perpendicular to the line. Boom. Write the equation of line M in slope-intercept form. All right, so we're given a point. The point is 2, negative 1, and my line is y equals 1/2 x plus 3. That is going to be perpendicular to the line that I want. Now, if two lines were parallel, they will have the same slope. But since our line M is perpendicular to this line, the slope perpendicular will be the negative reciprocal of that line given. So the negative version of this positive 1/2 is going to be negative 2 over 1, which is negative 2. I know this can get confusing because M is the variable we use, or the letter we use for slope, and we're looking for line M. Don't get confused there. We are so used to using M as our slope. Now, the form of a line that you must know is point slope form. This is the form of a line that you'll be using most often, even when you get to calculus. And that is y minus y sub 1 equal to my slope times x minus x sub 1. And if you think about this, this is actually just the slope formula. M is equal to the change in y over the change in x. You see the change in y here, and all we really did from this slope formula is we multiplied both sides by the change in x. So we have the m times the change in x is equal to the change in y. And this flipped is this right here. Now let's plug in everything we know. Y minus my y sub 1, which is negative 1. My slope is negative 2, and x minus my x value of 2. And now I distribute and combine like terms. And we get y is equal to negative 2x plus 3. That is the line M that we were looking for. That is topic number 2. Topic 3, solving systems of equations. Also really important, and these often show up as word problems. So let's take a look. A student bought 3 notebooks. Notebooks, automatically, I'm thinking we're going to use the variable n. And pens, I'm going to use the variable p. I have 3 notebooks plus 2 pens was equal to $8. Another student bought 2 notebooks and 4 pens for $10. Find the cost of 1 notebook and 1 pen. So what we're looking for here is n equals and p equals. I boxed this so that I don't forget as I'm solving this problem, that is what I'm trying to achieve. That is my goal. So let's take a look. We have 3n plus 2p is equal to 8, 2n plus 4p is equal to 10. We know that when we're working with systems of equations, elimination is the easiest way in solving systems of equations, especially when the two coefficients of a certain variable have common factors or common multiples. So in this case, I am actually going to multiply the top equation by a negative 2. And when I do this, this becomes a negative 6n minus 4p equals negative 16. And now I have this new system of equations that when I add all the way through, 2n minus 6n is negative 4n. 4p and minus 4p eliminate, leaving us with just one variable, which is what we wanted. So n will equal 6 over 4, which is 3 halves. And in dollar amounts, that would be $1.50 for 1 notebook. Now we can find how much 1 pen costs by plugging this 1.5 back into one of the n's. Now, it seems easier for us to plug this 1.5 for n into the second equation that we see, because when we do 2 times 1.5, that gives us a whole number of 3, whereas 3 times 1.5 would have given us 450, and that's a little tougher to work with. So I'm going to plug it into this blue box equation. That gives us 2 times $1.50 plus 4p is equal to 10. That's equal to 3, so 4p will equal 10 minus 3 once it flips to the other side of the equality. So now p is equal to 7, which is 10 minus 3, all over 4. And that is equivalent to, in money form, $1.75. So we have found that one notebook costs $1.50, and 1 pen costs $1.75. If you ask me, a little criminal that a pen costs more than a notebook, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. Topic 4, exponents and polynomials. Again, super, super important. This is something you have to know, and it shows up in every math course you'll ever see here on out. So let's take a look. Letter A says simplify completely. Right here, we're focusing on factoring. X squared minus 4 is commonly known as a difference of squares. 4 is a square, 2 squared, and I can rewrite that as a binomial times its conjugate. A binomial is simply an expression with 2 terms, and a conjugate means flip the symbol in between those 2 terms. And x plus 2 times x minus 2 does, in fact, give us x squared minus 4. On the bottom, I'm going to use add, multiply. 2 factors of negative 6 will add up to negative 1. Those 2 factors are negative 3 and positive 2. Over here, we have x minus 3 over x plus 2, and we recognize there are many things that cancel here. X plus 2 cancels out with x plus 2 here, and x minus 3 cancels out with x minus 3, leaving us with just x minus 2 over x plus 2. And these do not cancel because they're separated by a minus sign and an addition sign. Letter B, expand and simplify. The most common mistake that students make with these types of problems is they square just the x and just the 2. But reminder, when we're squaring an expression, that means we're getting that expression times itself. So don't ever forget that. And I like to always rewrite it like this so I don't forget that middle term. X times x is x squared. x times 2 is 2x. Don't forget the inner 2x as well. So 2x plus 2x is 4x, and 2 times 2 is 4. Minus. I'm going to put parentheses here because I'm going to have to distribute this negative into all the terms in the parentheses here. I have x squared. X times negative 3, I have that twice. So that'll be negative 6x plus a 9. So now I have x squared plus 4x plus 4 minus x squared plus 6x minus 9. And that gives us the x squareds will eliminate. 4x plus 6x is 10x, and 4 minus 9 is negative 5 for my final answer. Last topic that you must know in Algebra 1 are piecewise functions and just functions in general dealing with domains. Now, f of x is equal to negative 2x plus 1 if x is less than 0, and f of x is equal to x squared, a quadratic equation, if x is greater than or equal to 0. So for letter A, I want to find f of negative 2. So where does negative 2 go? This means that x is equal to negative 2. So I must plug it in into this first equation. So I plug in negative 2 where the x is. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, plus a 1 is equal to 5. Letter B says f of 3. That'll be equal to when 3 is greater than 0. So we plug it into this second equation. 3 squared is equal to 9. I'll give you a little bonus one here. Which equation will we plug in for f of 0? Well, that's when x is equal to 0. We see the equal sign here. So we'll plug in 0 into the x squared. That gives us a 0. Hope you enjoyed this. Like and subscribe to the channel if you did. And I will see you next time for 5 must-know topics in geometry. See you soon.